It's nice to talk about a win, huh? Regardless of who it's against, the score looks good. No question about that. Let's talk some Nebraska football for the next hour, as we always do here on the Voice of College Football with Greg Peterson from Husker Online. It's our 33rd edition. Enjoy, hit the like button, get some other folks in here as well to talk Nebraska football. Greg, how we doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. Like you said, it's always good to talk about a win. It doesn't matter who it's against, but win's a win in that column there. So yeah, doing pretty good.
Buffalo's coming up this week. We will talk about the Buffalo Bulls a little bit. 52-7 though on Saturday against Fordham. I will say that based on what I heard from this game, the one thing that hit me going forward, it's less about this game, obviously, because it was a game that turned out as we all expected, but it's more about working some things out, figuring things out going forward, is Marquis Stepp and his performance against Fordham. A lot of people would like to see him with his hands on the football.
Yeah, I think that Marquis Stepp just put his name there on that number one running back spot. He stamped it there pretty good in my mind. I mean, we talked to offensive coordinator Matt Lubick today, and he was asked that question. He said, yeah, we're still going to rotate guys, but I think you saw that Nebraska, actually the two transfers that came in that have played a lot of college football already, made an impact. And Marquis Stepp, he had a great day. It was funny, too, because we asked him yesterday, when's the last time he'd had that many carries? And he said it was back in high school, back in Indianapolis when he was in high school. So, yeah, he was happy. And the thing I liked about Marquise's running style is that everything is downhill. Everything is a positive gain. He's falling forward. He's not falling backwards. And he runs with some authority. And, yeah, he racked up some yards. And I think, if you're looking for a bell cow, I think Marquis Stepp just put his stamp there on that number one running back spot.
18 carries for 101 for Marquis Stepp is obviously is anticipated that a lot of people carried the football in a 52-7 game, and so they did run it 65 times. But again, everybody got their handful: Sevion Morrison, Marvin Scott, Jacques Yant, Ramir Johnson, everybody we've talked about and seen a little bit of. Gabe Ervin, of course, was the starting running back against Illinois. He had 6 carries for 17 yards, but it was Stepp definitely that took it away from everybody else with 18 for 101 with a 19-yard long carry. Our guy Allen is commenting in the chat that if Adrian Martinez throws the ball against everybody else like he did against Fordham, then we're in good shape. How much of that do you think was Fordham versus how much Adrian Martinez really took some strides?
Well, what it was complete night and day from the Illinois game to the Fordham game, where over half of his dropbacks against Illinois, he was pressured and was forced to move out of the pocket. Against Fordham, that wasn't the case, and you saw if the offensive line can hold up and keep any kind of pass rush off you, then Adrian has all day to throw, and he looks like $1 million. So, yeah, it looked all good, bells and whistles there, but I really wasn't even happy the whole first half, because unlike a lot of people, I'm down there on field level and I can see what's going on, and the sheer size discrepancy between the two teams was just amazing. And Nebraska kind of struggled that whole first half until right at the end that, Jojo Doman bailed him out with his first interception of his career. And Deontay Williams got one of his two. And Nebraska should have been down at halftime. They should have been trailing in this game at halftime. And I really was, in my mind, I was kind of disgusted by the way they played, just because what I could see out there that, you're way bigger, you're stronger, you're faster, and Granted, Fordham had some players. They had a few guys that were really good players, but that first half they got off to that slow start. But then once physics did come into play, they're in that midway through that second quarter, and then you saw it in the third and fourth quarter that Nebraska wore them down, and they could do anything they wanted to against them at that point. But there was a lot of good things to take out of it, and there was a few bad things to take out of it. But more on the good. More on the good.
Adrian hit 17 of 23 for 254 and a touchdown. And if you're just looking at the box score, and I saw some of the highlights, Samori Toure was
Great.
Obviously a standout.
Yeah. I mean, Samori Toure just showed what he brings to the table. I don't know how many of these episodes. We're on 33 right now, but I'd have to say more than half that we've talked about. Samori Toure is going to be playing in the NFL on Sundays next year, and he just showed you. And Adrian Martinez and Samori have a really good connection, which is it's really nice to see. And they've been working on that, ever since Samori got here. And it was pretty cool because we actually on Husker Online we launched a new TV show here yesterday. It's sponsored by Sand Hills Global, and so we picked our two players of the game, and Samori Toure was one of them, and Deontay Williams was the other one. And we had them in studio on Sunday after the game and recapped everything with them, and it's really cool. Really good opportunity for those guys for their NIL. So yeah, really cool. And we talked to Samari at length. We did about 7 minutes with him on camera, but we talked to him a lot more than that. And talked about his Montana Grizz, his former teammates there that knocked off Washington on Saturday night. And Samari was like, "Oh yeah, I was FaceTiming those guys in the locker room after the game was over," because obviously Samari could watch the whole game because Nebraska played at 11 a.m. and he had one heck of a game. I mean, you can just see he's a workhorse at wide receiver and very versatile. You saw him with Oliver Martin out. He lined up in the slot quite a few times and was really effective out of there. And they ran the ball. He carried the ball 3 times, and you saw with a beautiful option touchdown from Adrian Martinez pitch to Samori Toure. It was just beautiful. It looked like old-time Nebraska football there, except he had a wide receiver on the back end of that pitch out of the option. But, great stuff. I mean, Samori Toure just showed you right there that he is a stud, and more good things are going to happen. And plus, that opens up, everybody's waiting for Omar Manning to break out, and he's doing better each week. He's getting open now too because they're starting to find their niche a little bit. So yeah, baby steps, and we'll see what happens on Saturday against Buffalo, which is going to be a much more stout opponent and a top 20 team from last year that returns a bunch of guys and a brand new coaching staff, but still same players that earned themselves a top 20 ranking last season.
Omar Manning had a 32-yard catch, 3 catches in all for 54 yards. Greg, you had mentioned where you weren't impressed early in the game, a little disgusted with the offensive line play, not taking advantage of the size and pushing guys around to generate anything in the running game in particular. On the flip side, I'm going to read off the numbers. You tell me how much of it's real, how much of it means something. If you look at the numbers rushing from Fordham, it's not devastating, but it's a little bit more effective than you would hope against Nebraska. 129 yards rushing and 4.6 yards per carry.
You saw them. There was a lot of plays there that they broke one open. And you know what? Their running back was good. Their quarterback was really good. They gained a lot. There was a few of those, every 3 or 4 play, or third or fourth play, all of a sudden they would bust something. And, Nebraska was on their heels for a little bit there. And got, like I said, they got bailed out by a couple of turnovers and stuff. But, yeah, I mean, Fordham, they came to play. the $500,000 team, they looked pretty good there at the beginning, and I just think that Nebraska, uh, they might not have come into this game as well prepared, and that's one thing that kind of bothers me is that you got to do the work during the week, Monday through Friday before Saturday starts, and I hope that they have that work ethic and belief in themselves for this Saturday. Otherwise, they might get punched in the mouth by a Buffalo team that just hung like 69 points on last week. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, in mentioning Buffalo a number of times during the offseason, we talked about exactly what you just mentioned in that they've been one of the best teams in the MAC the last few seasons. They did finish in the top 25 at the end of last year. They did put up 69 points against Wagner, 69-7. So some guys to look out for Buffalo, Nebraska fans. Their starting quarterback is Kyle Van Thies. 15 of 19 against Wagner, 231 in the air, 1 touchdown, no picks. And they ran it effectively, 312 yards, 5.6 yards per carry.
They got a good running attack, yeah.
Yeah, this Ron Cook and Kevin Marks. Kevin Marks is the guy that I remember from last season. He ran it 13 times for 72 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ron Cook, 14 for 94 and a touchdown. They had another guy. I don't know if they'll use all 3 of these guys, but they pretty much split the carries evenly.
I think
between those 3.
We had Coach Shenander, defensive coordinator today, had mentioned too that running back backed up. I'm not sure who it is, but he plays for the Washington football team right now. I think he's their starting running back. So this guy was backup. I'm not quite sure who that is off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either. As soon as I see it, I'll recognize it when I look it up. But the Kevin Marks that is still there for Buffalo backed up the other guy who had a couple ridiculous games last year. Exactly.
I was going to say I did not draft any Washington players in any of my fantasy leagues this year, so I'm missing his name off the top of my head.
Here he is, Jarrett Patterson.
Okay, there you
go. Jarrett Patterson. Yeah. So yeah, Kevin Marks is still. He was the guy that got the secondary carries last year, and yeah, Buffalo's going to be something to contend with. Was it really the Fordham game something that you can take anything away from in terms of improvement, or we're still struggling here?
Sure, absolutely. A lot of guys got some chances to play, and I think the biggest thing I take away from it is that there's not a lot of drop off from the ones and the twos. And then when you got those third string guys in there, third and fourth string guys, that's when you saw some of those bigger plays from the Fordham offense happen. But they bent, but they didn't break. So that's where some of those stats came out. But you just saw a lot of guys get a chance to play, and a lot of guys that really were impressive. And it was kind of just a thing that for the first quarter and a half, I think they were just kind of going through the motions, and then they kind of figured things out. And they finished off the first half with a drive and a score, and that boosted the momentum to go into the second half. And I know a lot of people are complaining that they only had 1 sack and maybe 2 tackles, TFLs, and you know what? Since that first quarter and a half of the Illinois game, people are now playing Nebraska different because they realize that Nebraska has a pretty ferocious rushing the passer attack. And now you got everybody's just doing a little quick 3-step drop and getting rid of the ball against Nebraska, not letting that happen. So we'll see if that trend happens again, continues on this Saturday against Buffalo. And, who knows what happens there in Norman the week after that, after Oklahoma just struggled to beat Tulsa. So,
yeah, Tulane.
Or Tulane, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that might bring a little bit of hope coming up in a couple weeks, because Tulane, Nebraska, you want to measure those two teams. I would hope Nebraska is still a better team than Tulane, but we shall see. But
But
Tulane was
what do any of us know when Illinois can beat Nebraska at home and then turn around and get beat by UTSA at home the following week? And so, what does any of this all mean right now? I don't know.
And that's the thing, when you try to rate and rank and evaluate these teams after one game, it's almost the trickiest spot to be in, because during the preseason, the off season, we all have our various perceptions on who's good and who's not. And then later in the season, we're going to have multiple games. Well, right now we got one game. Nebraska, of course, we got two. A few teams who get two, but basically one game for everybody. So it is the week to overreact for most teams. It's either the end of the world or this team looks amazing. Moonbot's shown up with his rankings. He has graded out the team, gave the offense a B, the defense a B, and the special teams a C minus. I wasn't really seeing anything right there that deserved a C minus. They made all their kicks.
Well, Cam Taylor Britt once again had a little faux pas there. On a punt return, which caused a turnover again. So that's a strike against them. No, they did not miss a kick, and on the bright side, every single kickoff was a touchback. That was very impressive. And they blocked a punt. Markel Dismuke blocked a field goal. So yeah, there were some positives to take away from the special teams, but overall, I wouldn't go C minus. I would probably almost give them a B for the special teams play. Defense, I would say I'd go a B plus on that, and offense, I'd go about a B. So I'm a little better on what I saw than Moonbot did. And, I know Moonbot, you're watching it on TV, but I was right there in the end zones on either end of the field watching it. So, yeah, there were a lot of good things I took away from it.
Moonbot is curious about your shirt.
Cam Jergy, baby. I'm
okay.
Rocking Cam Jergy. Yeah, Moonbot, you need to get a hold of me again. I talked to some people about the Yankee shirt, so get a hold of me. But yep, there you go. That's Cam Jurgens. That's his brand right there. It's beef jerky. Awesome stuff. I got a hat too. But you can get this in 3 different colors. Just go to beefjerky.com and you can order yours. Okay. I just did my part for NIL, didn't I?
You did for somebody out there.
Yeah. Well,
Go Big Red. Yep. Go Big Red. Lots of losses this week for Big Ten West teams.
Yeah.
Sure, they were playing well. Wisconsin lost to Penn State.
Minnesota
Illinois lost. Minnesota lost to Ohio State. Well, those are Big Ten games, yeah.
So you got Minnesota just lost Muhammad Ibrahim for the year. That's huge for Minnesota. Yeah, so there's right now it's the wild west. Iowa seems to be in control at the moment. Iowa and Northwestern, right? Everybody else is.
Well, Northwestern lost.
Oh, okay. So it's Iowa in the driver's seat. So there you go.
Yeah, if you're talking about Big Ten wins, then Iowa got a big one in a big way. They were dominant in that game against Indiana, their defense especially, and their secondary played.
And they got to go play Iowa State this week too. So that'll be pretty cool this weekend.
Yeah, that might be the best game of the week across the country.
Yeah.
So Go Big Red still likes an upset in Norman, but of course got to focus on Buffalo next.
Yeah, we got to see some improvements here Saturday against Buffalo before we can start talking about an upset in Norman. In my mind.
Chet, thank you so much for that. It's good to have you here live. You say you watch every week, but that's on the replay. Got here for the first time live. Nice.
Get yourself a beef jerky shirt there, Chet. Jim
Moon,
better start paying me for these.
I guess. All right. Yeah, Moonbot still talking up the ante.
Hey, we love the Yankee. It is nice to see him get some carries out there. Him and Savion Morrison really helped their stock. I think, Savion Morrison got in the end zone twice, and Yankee was in there, and then they yanked him out of there, and it was Marcus Scott got the Yankees touchdown. So yeah, I think he got robbed out of a score, but oh well. He'll have more chances here.
Dependent fanatic. Hey, Mark, the notification works better when you turn it on. Yep, that would be a way to go with the notifications. Make sure those notifications are on so you know when we're going live, even though Greg and I have been rock solid on Tuesday night at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. You never know. We may have to switch up at some point. So subscribe, hit that bell for the notifications to know when we're going live and to know when we're dropping new content. And go over to Husker Online Video. What do you have available this week?
Well, now that you ask, I know you put out a lot of videos and you're very busy. But I'm going to compare. I want to see what do you know since Saturday? How many videos have you produced? I have produced 38 since Saturday until right now.
Okay, that's you might have me beat since Saturday. We'd have to check, but you probably do over all the channels. So our goal with 24 channels is to get content posted on every channel every day. So we're in the ballpark. We're in the ballpark, but I don't know if we hit 38 here since Saturday.
Well, I mean, just I cheat a little bit because a lot of them are press conference, just straight up one-on-one pressers, but a lot of good original content there from the ball game on Saturday. I always produce a sights and sounds video that's a must watch for any Husker fan. And then we always run a Sunday quarterback feature that we recap the game with Sean Callahan, our producer at Husker Online, and Andy Kennedy, the sports director at KETV7 there in Omaha. And like I said, we started our new Husker Rewind with a sponsored show there that the players get paid for coming into our studio and do. And then you got your high school coverage, which been a little bit behind on this weekend with everything going on. But yeah, everything Husker and Husker recruit wise, we've got it going. Nobody can beat us. Nobody else touches us for anything video wise on YouTube.
Absolutely. And our Nebraska channel right here at the Voice of College Football is basically supported by this guy. So I produce a lot of content overall and some content for this channel in particular myself, but this is the guy that gets it done in regards to most of what we produce. So most of it's, and this show in particular works because Greg's here. No question about that. So we've done it 33 times. Greg's been here 33 times. So folks, we hope you appreciate that. All right. Let's see. What did I see in here? People did like the option play. We're entertained by that. Of course, the guy that's going to get a little bit of talk and you having contact with Nebraska fans, shoot, by the hour, more so than I do. Has anybody brought up Logan Smothers coming off a 4 for 7 performance and he got his feet wet and how he looked?
Yeah, we asked Matt Lubick about that this morning, and Coach Lubick was happy with his performance, and the only strike I would put against Logan's performance was that he did cough up a fumble there. I think he just kind of forgot that it was a real game, and he wasn't wearing that green no contact jersey, and the guys were able to hit him for real, and he coughed that one up. But he was in there for 3 drives, and they scored on 2 of those 3 drives. So he moved the offense, and like I said, besides that one fumble, which is maybe chalk that up to nerves or what have you, because he did say he was pretty nervous going out there. It's the first time that he's played a real football game in 2 years since he was in high school in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, which I had the privilege to go down there and cover one of his home games there, and an awesome experience down there. The folks down there just love their high school football, and a lot of Husker fans down there in Crimson Tide territory that you wouldn't even think about. But yeah, I was very happy for Logan to get in there and finally get some meaningful plays, some meaningful snaps, and good to work on that kind of stuff. And now you can move forward, and I think you can solidly say that he has secured the number 2 quarterback spot. So yeah, good for him.
Folks, also keep in mind that we've got a Nebraska postgame show here after every Huskers game with our guys Zach and Chris. So look out for that. Be set to talk Nebraska football right after the game. And Moonbot, this is the most shocking statement I think we're going to see tonight. Moonbot is taking Buffalo to cover. Okay, fine. But also the money line to win the game?
Shocking. I thought Moonbot was a hardcore Husker.
Yes. Guess money gets in the way, I guess.
Maybe that Yanty T-shirt venture has gotten to his head. I'm not sure.
I don't know. So Nebraska opened, according to the site that I always go to, which has all the Vegas sports books listed. Nebraska opened as an 11-point favorite. That's ballooned up to 13.5. So that means people are taking Nebraska to cover the 11. It's gone up to 13.5. So yeah, if you take Buffalo with a money line, you're going to win a lot of money because, of course, it's a 13-point underdog. They got to win the game.
Hey, well, we'll see. I don't know if that's a bad call or a good call. He might be a genius there. Because I have not watched any film on Buffalo, so I don't know. I'm not the right guy to ask because obviously in our picks, I completely forgot about Ohio State and Minnesota on Thursday, so I got a no-show on our picks there.
Well, we're not going to give you a loss. It's just a no-show. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. 54.5 is the over-under. That's not many points. That's 27 per side. If they've got Nebraska winning by 13, let me do some math. They've got like a...
You had 2 teams that just scored 69 and 52, respectfully. I think, yeah, that's weird.
They've got like a 33-20 game, something like that, 34-20. Okay.
Huh? Vegas knows, right? I don't know. I think it's going to be higher scoring in my opinion.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I never did like the over/under though. I don't touch that. So we got Dan Richardson on the line here. Is Scott Frost setting up old school option plays to use against Oklahoma? Frost has many times been quoted as saying that he is passionate about the option play. 1983 scoring explosion comeback.
I think there might be a little something to that there, Dan, because he does love that, and you've always seen that. Well, not you particularly, but we've seen that in practice quite a few times, which always sparks that that question, and then it doesn't get pulled out very often in games. But you did see it get pulled out against Fordham, and in listening to offensive coordinator Matt Lubick today about answering that question, this sounds like it's something that's in their arsenal, and they might be pulling that out much more often, and might be something that they utilize against playing Oklahoma. I think that's a pretty good observation there by Dan.
Matthew Chambers is talking about the offensive line experience and says he had no idea that the offensive line was this young until he looked at the depth chart with 3 freshmen, a sophomore, and a junior.
Hey, they do. and these guys are beyond their years in their bodies and a lot of their techniques and stuff, and it is very impressive. And the thing about it is too is that you have 8 or 9 of these guys. Incoming freshman Teddy Prohaska, who's like one of the largest human beings you would ever see right now, who actually, should just be entering college, but he was an early enrollee, and this guy is 6'9" and 315 pounds, and looks like he could easily put another 25 pounds on him as a freshman. Yeah, it's a very, very young line, and you have a couple of older guys that still aren't. You can't consider them seniors or anything like that, but there's very, very few starts between Cam Jurgens would have the most starts out of anybody on that line, and this guy's a converted tight end. So it's a young line. It's got a lot of growing pains, but I think they're starting to mesh together pretty good, and a lot of competition in that room. Every one of them wants as many snaps as they can get. So it's cutthroat there, and I think it just bodes better and better down the line. I mean, the lot later in the season it gets, the more seasoned these guys are going to be, and I think you're going to see them be able to take over games a lot earlier than what they did here against Fordham just last Saturday.
Does my heart good when I know Navy Thomas is here.
Oh, I missed him. What did he say?
He's excited about the win. Played very well.
I want to know what Navy thinks about the linebacker play, because I've been very, very impressed with the linebackers in this 3-4 defensive scheme.
Yeah, he's not going to like it.
No, he's not. But I want to know what he says. So we'll give him a few minutes. We'll give him a few minutes to respond to that one. See, we're doing a little reverse psychology here tonight. We're asking the callers what they think. Okay.
We got Dan here who thinks that Nebraska's looked unprepared the last 2 weeks, and whether that's going to be a trend.
I hope not. I mean, because I noticed that, especially against Illinois, I didn't think they looked prepared. And, it's kind of questionable this last Saturday with Fordham. And I think that's the one thing that I think we hit on it a little bit earlier, that you got to put the work in during the week in practice and not just go through the motions and come out fired up as soon as you hit the field on Saturday. And I think they might have been a little lackluster because they did know kind of the type of the opponent that they were playing. And that's where I was kind of disgusted, like I talked about earlier in the game, that they should have just come out there and dominated from the start and just pushed those guys all over the place and just ran them right down the field. And I didn't see that. And that might be a little bit of going on about being organized and ready to play.
Can't say I'm really getting that comment. Purdue won their first game. So they're not.
Because it starts. I mean, you're not playing. I mean, okay, Buffalo's no sneezer, and then you're going to play Oklahoma, and then you're into conference season. So you can't mess around anymore. You're going to have to come out ready to play every week.
Yep. And so to Samuel's point, he wants to be ready for Iowa. Well, that's the last game of the season, right?
Yep.
So the offensive line needs to get into gear before that.
Yeah. Yeah, got a lot of work to do before we play Iowa. You got a little Oklahoma, a little Ohio State, just to name a couple schools on the schedule, Wisconsin.
Yeah, so Dewey thinks that Savion Morrison's the best running back overall.
So excited for his day. I got a chance to talk to him after the game too, and he was on cloud nine because I actually saw him play his last game that he actually played in when he was a senior in high school in the playoffs. When his team got beat, he had 3 touchdowns in the first half, and then he got very sick and was throwing up into, into the garbage can the whole second half, and it wasn't good. But it was so good to see him go out there and get 2 touchdowns, and he really, I think he's made a big step up and he's gonna have a really good career here at Nebraska moving forward. So I couldn't be happier for Savion.
Our guy Mike, 3883, best duo right here. Appreciate that, Mike.
Yeah.
Many teams fell short of expectations, but where not trash like the Huskers were. A lot of talk about the offensive line. Mustrix here.
Oh! The incredible Husker Hulk.
Didn't like the offensive line in regards to not getting to the second level.
Yeah, that's what we've been harping on here. Until they actually started wearing those guys down later, late in the second quarter and on in the second half, then yeah, they were very unimpressive in my book. But the good thing is that they didn't make any real bad mistakes and have any bad penalties. So that was something on the upside with that as well.
Moonbot, thank you for joining our post-game show. Appreciate that. D-Rock Irish, good job, Mark and Greg. Always appreciate D-Rock Irish. Obviously a Notre Dame fan coming off their big win last night against Florida State, but joins us or 2 nights ago. That was a thriller, but joins us all over the place.
It was nice to see Florida State actually be competitive, too, and see McKenzie Milton resurrect his career in that game.
It was. You got to feel good for him coming back. It's been a long road.
Yeah, it's funny that a lot of people on Logan Smothers bandwagon, too. I kind of noticed, too, that, yesterday on our weekly Monday press conference up in the press box with players and Coach Frost, that Adrian was up there at the podium and Logan Smothers did a hallway interview, and I've got more views on video on Logan Smothers than I do on Adrian Martinez on my YouTube channel right now. A lot of people on Logan's bandwagon, and I just gave him some praise. I love the kid. I know his family. I've been there. I've been to his home, and I'm always pulling for that guy. Always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of questions there. You're going through them too quick. I can't even read them all.
Well, it's nothing really a lot of comments, but
okay.
Never thought about Stephen Costello saying that McKenzie Milton could have followed Scott Frost to Nebraska.
Well, you know what? He probably would have, but that was a decision. I mean, even Coach Frost even mentioned Monday he was asked about McKenzie's performance, and Coach Frost had not got to see it. He said he was in the office until midnight, but his phone was all lit up on that. But he says that McKenzie's family will always think of him as family, and if Coach Frost would have reached out to him and said come to Nebraska, he would have. But it was a decision that Coach Frost and Coach Verduzco had to make, that they didn't want to put that kind of pressure on Adrian Martinez because this is Adrian Martinez's team, and he didn't want to bring that kind of controversy in to start a quarterback battle when you're trying to get your guy, your franchise quarterback, on track to a season that you think that you hope that he can have.
I will serve this one up, Greg, and you can touch it if you'd like, or give whatever take on this, because this has been brought up before, and it's obviously a touchy subject. And I know you're going to take this in the right way in regards to how much to tread on this. But Dan is saying, what's up with Frost? Personal rumors. Do you think there's anybody in the Husker media that's, basically out to get Scott Frost? He was walking with his wife after the game.
It's funny. Dan and Mark, that I actually had to answer this question to my wife on
Huh.
Saturday night as well. That's the rampant rumors. I have phone calls, I have text messages from lifelong friends that grew up in Lincoln, Nebraska, that live out of state now and are done with Frost and believe any of these so-called rumors. It's all a conspiracy theory. Um, None of this is true whatsoever. I don't want to go into any of the specific rumors that people are blaming Coach Frost for doing. Um, it was a suggestion to have his wife and his son out there because they've been wanting to do that, but you didn't know for sure if they were going to win a ball game or not at home. So, take that for what it's worth. But Scott Frost's look is he's gotten all these rumors against him, which I'm going to go out here. I'll tell everybody listening right here. None of them are true. None of them are true, and I don't care which ones you're talking about. But nothing is true. Um, he is cleaning up his image. You see him now; he's clean shaven on game day, and his shirt's tucked in, and it's just kind of you know changing his look a little bit so people don't think about these rumors. Now you can't do much of you can't tell him, after practice, he can still wear his camo hat and be unshaven and stuff. But yeah, when it comes to, now he's going to be wearing a suit a lot of times when he's on camera and stuff. So a lot of this has to do with Trev Alberts and just having a little bit of a change in image and to try to stop some of these rumors.
Mm. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay, we'll move along with Navy Thomas. Navy Thomas was so impressed with that win against Fordham. Now he says just 3 more losses. The Michigan game, the Ohio State game, and 1 more in the Big Ten for 4 total losses. That'll be 8-4, and that'll make you look like a smart guy, Greg.
Okay, I'll take that. Okay.
You said 8-4, right, Greg?
I did because I moved it up before the season started there. I think that last weekend I changed it from what was I? It was 6-6, and then I changed it to 8-4. So yeah, Navy is right on that. And well, I don't know. I did not get a chance to see Michigan, so I can't really I can't gauge that game right now. Obviously, Ohio State and Oklahoma are going to put in that loss column, and it's a dogfight then the rest of the way. If Nebraska keeps progressing like we hope they will.
Yeah, I had Nebraska at 6-6, 4-5 in the conference, and Michigan looked good over the weekend. A lot of explosive plays. They ran for 335 yards. They only had to throw 11 passes, or at least their starting quarterback, Cade McNamara, threw 11 passes, and then J.J. McCarthy came in and threw a ridiculous John Elway kind of throw that people were oohing and awing about. But it was what Michigan should do to a mid-level MAC team, beat them by 5 touchdowns. So they've got Washington coming up.
Jim Harbaugh's good at that, right? Whoops, did I say that out loud?
You did. We all heard it. Richard, prediction on Iowa State. Well, Richard, I will tell you that in respect for our folks at our Voice of College Football community over on Patreon, I deliver my picks there for them. I don't know if you've got any thoughts on this one, Greg.
Where's it at?
They're at Iowa State, and Iowa State's about a 4.5-point favorite.
Ooh. I think this game's going to go down to the wire. I think it's going to be really close. I'm gonna say Iowa pulls it out by 3.
Okay.
I'll save the particulars for Patreon, but yeah, I'm gonna go out there and say
Oh, that's
Iowa
all right.
Iowa wins this one, but just by a touch, by a little edge. Yeah.
I release a top 25, Greg, that gets people all in a frenzy. because I base it just on the results on the field, meaning we've only played one game. So I'm going on one game, meaning that Oklahoma's not Oklahoma, the Oklahoma that everybody thought, okay, is going to blow the doors off everyone and be one of the best teams in the country. Well, they probably will turn out to be that, but all we've got to go on right now is that they barely beat Tulane. So I rank
in a game that was actually supposed to be played at Tulane.
Yep.
But the Hurricane had to have that changed to Norman.
So I release my top 25 rankings after all the games every weekend, and they tend to get people all flustered because they're not your conventional rankings, because I rank them just based on the games played and not what we think about these teams. And reason I said that is because Iowa, shoot, they just went out there and mowed down Indiana. If they can beat Iowa State, they deserve whatever ranking they get after that. If they can win those two games to start the season, that's a tough way to start 2021. But if they can make it through, that's impressive.
I also have to think a little bit that Indiana was a little bit overrated going into the season.
Yeah,
I don't think Iowa State is overrated. So I think it's going to be a heck of a game.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not have Indiana ranked as highly as other people did. I still have them going 8-4.
And they can still do that, but yeah.
But Iowa just...
They still have a few big boys left to play, like Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, that all are 1-0 right now. So we'll see. Michigan State, who looked pretty good too.
Yeah, they did. They looked really good. I was a bit surprised by that game. But Iowa, defensively, they just looked lights out against Indiana.
Going to be an interesting season. I think it's going to be one for the ages, to tell you the truth. I like the way things are already starting out.
Oh, Navy Thomas is going to add in Oklahoma. So now we're up to 5 losses.
Oh, you forgot about next week's game, huh? Well, at least Navy wasn't overlooking Buffalo, okay? I'll give him that.
And now I got to tell you, Greg, when you look at Nebraska's schedule and how important that Illinois game was, and it's dead and gone. It's gone. You can't do anything about it now. You got to make up for it. Purdue didn't necessarily play the greatest team in the world, but still played a Power 5 team out of the Pac-12, beat Oregon State.
Our friend Josh Harris, who's helping out coaching the linebackers at Oregon State. So,
and Michigan State, another team that really was on the rocks last year in the Big Ten, got off to a great start. They were dominant in that game against Northwestern.
Yeah. I think everybody probably had Northwestern picked to not even have much of a problem against Michigan State. So, yeah, it's a wild and wacky year already. So, I think, just strap in the Big Ten. I mean, on the West side at least, I think it's anybody's ball game right now. So, and obviously we saw Ohio State be Ohio State. So,
all right. Well, I don't see too much left in here for us to go over. Was there anything else you wanted to hit on?
Nothing really coming to the top of my mind. We got high school football going on, and Saturday, and then next week I'll be heading off to San Antonio to check out Richard Torres, the quarterback commit. The night before Huskers play in Norman. So, we're just getting into the meat of things and, trying to cover everything Huskers we possibly can, and always adding new content. And, it's always funny that people ask you what you do, and when you say you're a content producer, they look at you really funny. But, that's what we do. You can call yourself a TV producer or a reporter or videographer or whatever, but we're content producers.
It's a new world.
Yep.
It's a new world. So Who are you scouting this weekend in the high school ranks?
You know what? I am going to go see a Class C game in Nebraska, which is a lower level game. But Ben Brommer, who is the Nebraska tight end commit in next year's class, he's a big old 6'8" tight end like Nebraska likes, and I'm going to go check him out. He's playing 65 miles away from Lincoln here, so it's the closest that he'll be. He's out of Pierce, Nebraska. But he's a heck of a player, and I'm going to go see him now and get him out of the way. That way I don't have to worry about driving any farther to go see him later in the year in case they don't make it to Lincoln for the state playoffs. But that's my plan, and then I'll send my intern Blake. I gave him a choice of 2 games actually, so I think he's going to go to see Bellevue West play. Who are they playing? Creighton Prep. So that's that's the best game in the state anyway. Creighton Prep's got a stud, Sam Sledge. He's a defensive tackle type player. He also plays on the offensive line. He's a stud. And then Bellevue West has those 2 Nebraska kids with offers, and Davion Hall and Daniel Kalen. So yeah, I think that's where Blake's going to hit. So nothing really going on Thursday night for us this week that's worth making the effort to go out to see. So a little bit easier on us this week. So only covering 2 games instead of 4. Kind of have a day off on Thursday. Can watch a little NFL Week 1 opening game, even though I'm not a Cowboys or Buccaneers fan.
I'll watch any NFL game. That's
Oh,
fine.
I will too.
I don't need to have a rooting interest.
I was just telling people today. I mean, obviously, probably most of us on here play fantasy football, and I was just telling my intern Blake yesterday. He was asking about my team. I go, you know what? I got 5 guys on my team that I covered in high school. Odell Beckham Jr., Julio Jones. Who else? I had Rob Gronkowski, Noah Fant, and oh my God, Stephon Diggs. So I got 5 guys that I covered. I went out and traveled to go cover. So I'm very excited about that.
That's very cool. I'm interested to know what you thought of Gronk when he was in high school, because of course he didn't have a great, I've heard Belichick talk about scouting him as a college player and saying, we just kind of had a hunch, we had to look at a lot of different things because he wasn't super productive at Arizona because he wasn't on the field. He got hurt a lot.
No, he played. He was at Woodland Hills High School in Pittsburgh when I went to go see him. I mean, his family is from Arizona, but they had moved to Pittsburgh, and so that's where he played his junior and senior years. And he was just a dude. He's like, okay, because we were going down there at the time. We were producing a show that we used to call All the Way to Friday, and he was on our list of guys to go interview and talk to on this Woodland Hills team that actually had a couple other guys that were higher ranked. A Notre Dame cornerback that was a 4-star. I can't remember who that was at the time. But, we went and talked to him, met him, and talked to him there in the old school stadium that they have there called the Wolverina, which was built back in the early 1900s. Just one of your classic northern Pennsylvania looks, the hills, houses on the hills all around there and stuff. Very beautiful setting, historic stadium. And he was very, kind of Gronkish, but shyer. Didn't really tell you a whole lot, but was a nice guy. And during the game, didn't really do much. Never really stood out. I couldn't really tell you if I had any real highlights from him from that game. But I did go interview him, and I covered his game. So who knew that he was going to turn into what he did turn into in the pros?
He didn't have TB12 to throw to him, I guess, during that game.
Oh, that makes a big difference right there.
We've had as many as about 140 on the line for the Nebraska show, so we appreciate everybody jumping on in here. But most of you joined us late in the process. So what you do is you hang around for 15 or 20 minutes, check on back. The video post, you can catch it top to bottom to see Greg's analysis on Nebraska football. Now, with the Fordham game out of the way, how good is the Buffalo game going to be? We shall see. I would expect Nebraska to win by a couple touchdowns, something in the range of what Vegas thinks, but could turn out to be a close game, could turn out to be a Nebraska blowout. We shall see. But then starting next week, hey, folks, if we got 140 in here, bring some friends in here. It'd be great if we could double this, because after Buffalo, we're going to be previewing, it just doesn't let up after that. Oklahoma, Michigan State, Northwestern, Michigan, Minnesota, Purdue, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Iowa. So we're going to have plenty to talk about.
Call your friends, call Barry Switzer, call
Brian. Call a sponsor.
Call in for next week. Yeah.
Call a sponsor. That's what we need.
How about Sandhills Global? Are you listening out there?
There you go.
How about ABM? You guys listening?
Absolutely. So if anybody has lead on a sponsor, bring them in. MarkRogersTV at Gmail. You can hit me up anytime. MarkRogersTV at Gmail. Get us a sponsor. Bring some friends in here. Let's deliver. And also, folks, appreciate what we've got here with Greg. He's on Husker Online. He's on YouTube with Husker Online, obviously the rival site as well. He's got a ton going on, but he still makes time for us each and every week, an hour plus, talking Nebraska football. So
subscribe to that YouTube channel, Husker Online Video. I mean, you're going to get everything Husker that you would ever want.
Beautiful. Greg, we appreciate it. Good luck against those Buffalo Bulls, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I'm more excited about this game than I was last week, probably for obvious reasons. But, yeah, we'll see what they can do against a decent team.
Folks, we'll be back tomorrow. Let's see. We've got Ohio State live. Oh, let me back up. We've switched the schedule all over the place. So tomorrow, Oklahoma live, Ohio State live, Florida State live. That's at 12:30, 1:30, and at 6 Eastern. And then talk about that Iowa State game. We're going to do a live stream featuring Iowa State preview for at least an hour tomorrow night. So we'll see you all back then.
I'm tuning in.